It is a cool night in Santan Foothills, and we are ready for some SaberCat football. My name is Luby Ramirez, and I am here with the SoAZVB Network to present to you the Crismon Rattlers at the Santan Foothills SaberCats. In the studio alongside me is Mr. Anthony Pistorio. And now that we are here for our second game, how do you feel about this matchup?
You got to look at this game right here. Second game time we're here this year, and this game actually, coming down to week 8 right now. It's 3-4 versus 3-4. We talked about it before. We got two teams here battling for a playoff spot. When you take a look at it, regardless of how the season started for Crismon and Santan, it was kind of a flip-flop. Crismon got off to a slow start. Santan got off to a hot start. And then the last 4 weeks, Crismon got on that roll. Santan kind of went on the opposite of that, and now they're both sitting at 3-4. But the one thing that's going to be important here to look at is the playoff odds. And when you take a look at it, both teams are just outside of the playoff picture right now. And especially with the way the region is right now, this is going to be a big game for both teams this week, especially on the offensive side of the ball tonight for each team.
No, I agree 100%. I think that with this game in play, it could have a lot of playoff implications. One thing for sure is that one of these teams still has to face Florence, that being the Crismon Rattlers. Santan Foothills put up a good fight against them in the Gila River Bowl this year, but unfortunately just came up short. Now, Florence will be playing tonight against Ben Franklin. We will be giving you guys score updates throughout the night on that one. But on the game at hand, is there anybody that stands out to you that you think that the crowd should be aware of?
I think it's the entire defense for the Crismon Rattlers. It's been the line in the sand for them this year so far. It's just been unstoppable to talk about, and you got to talk about the top guys on that. You got Drew Campbell, the senior defensive back. Crismon Boyd, the senior defensive back. You've got Tristan Ellefson, 7.1 tackles a game. Daniel Campassi, set 3 sacks on the year. This defense has been, to say the least, the brick wall, which has kept them in all their games. Offensively, they've been a little shaky in some of their games, but overall, this defense has stood tall every single game of the week. Now, offensively, it's got to start with Diesel Robinson, the quarterback. You got to look at the stats this right now. 25 for 54, 316 yards in the year with 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. He's got 1 rushing on the year. But in his last 3 games, he's 18 for 36 with 261, and that's where the 4 touchdowns come into play. He's got to keep it up down the stretch to keep the playoff hopes alive for this Crismon football team. They're young. Nobody expected them to be where they're at right now. So to say the least, it's been a great job so far, but they want to keep going and they want to make the playoffs this year.
And it could very well happen. It's going to be interesting, to say the least, to see how the rest of this night shakes out. We are going to take a short break here on the SoAZVB Network. Thank you for joining us. And we are back at SaberCat Stadium as Santan will sit back to receive as Crismon will kick off. Now, Santan is going to be in this game without their two main rushers, one Mr. Vision McKee, and the other one, not quite sure if it's going to be Mr. Holden Mikeworth or Cale Stever, because both running backs did an excellent job in our first showing here in the game against Dysart.
Yeah, Santan's going to get the ball to start here. And, yeah, quickly, you got to look at the running back carries. Take a look at this list right here. Nathaniel Clement, Dalton Norman, Vision McKee, Holden Mikeworth, Michael Cruz, Cale Stever. What do all those guys have in common? They've all had 12-plus carries this year. It's been a running back by committee this year, not by choice, honestly. Just a lot of injuries up front in the back and in the backfield for this Santan Foothills offense that has just caused many guys to step up. And when you take a look at it, 12 guys, 12 carries for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys. It's hard to get anybody in a rhythm this year.
Yeah, we will see how Santan looks to play this out as they get an exciting return a little bit past the 20-yard line, and we will see what Santan cooks up here.
It's going to be interesting to see how Dalton Norman in the offense command here. Little surprising stat to see here. Dalton Norman on the year, 3 for 7, 55 yards. That's just it. It's been a running back battle for this Santan Foothills offense all season long. And when we just talked about with all the guys running the ball, it's going to be interesting to see who lines up in the backfield first for the SaberCats offense.
Let's see if the SaberCats can, in fact, crack that whip and get a first down in the first play of the game.
And just a very sound defensive line for the Crismon Rattlers. I mean, we talked about it all season long. This has been the backbone, and it starts up front. And this defensive line for weeks on end has been able to shut down the run from teams in the likes of Thatcher, who's one of the top teams in 3A, if not the team to beat up there.
Thatcher is one of those tough teams up north that is definitely one that you have trouble against whenever you face them. And right now we get another handoff for the Santan Foothills SaberCats, and the running back is taken down. And it looks like he will be taken down just past the original line of scrimmage as we will prepare for third down.
Third and long here. Talked about it all season long. They'd like to run the ball here, but these are the situations that Santan does not want to find themselves in early, where they have to be forced to pass the ball. Has not been their strong suit this year.
And as you say that, Norman gets off a short toss, and the player is going to be pushed just out of bounds, and I think that is Jalen Fulton who will get that SaberCats first down, I believe.
Fourth down here. You're in a huge division battle here. I think that when you've been able to run the ball like this so far, 3 plays all positive, you might as well take your shot here in fourth down. You need about a yard here. Would like to see them maybe go with a hard count here, try to jump that Crismon defensive line off sides here.
Let's see if they can catch the Rattlers being undisciplined early in the game. One thing that you'll notice is a lot of those players not dressed for a cold weather game, as it is just below 70 degrees here, as it looks like the Rattlers will take over on downs.
And right here, quickly, you're going to see here, fourth down, they bring the 6-man pressure, they blitz the mid linebacker up the B gap, and they completely stuff it in the backfield. That's what this defensive line does for the Crismon Rattlers. And right there, a quick 4-and-out stop for the Rattlers. Huge turning point at this point in the game. Even though it's still early on, it gives that offense that juice, and it gets the offense all the way to the 41-yard line for the SaberCats to start their first drive.
Now the Rattlers will take possession here for their first drive in the first quarter with 10:24 to go.
Looks like they're going to have Hartman in the line in the running back position to the left of Robinson.
Diesel takes his first snap with a pass to the left to number 31, and he will get down just shy of the first down. And that is a good reception by Mr. Jaden Snowden, the senior.
Quick little RPO right away to keep the defensive line on their heels. Robinson makes the right read, and he just takes that RPO for about a 7-yard gain, but flag on the play is going to negate it. I like what they're trying to do early, though. And when we find ourselves in 1st and 10 and 1st and 15 plus scenarios, usually what you're looking at here in a 1st and 15, you're looking to get that chunk back on that penalty you just got. So expect a quick run right here by the Crismon Rattlers possibly, or once again right back to another RPO with the offset tight end to the left.
Let's see what the Rattlers have in here for 2nd and 15.
Solid give right there. You're going to see him. He's going to motion him over to the right. Checks to see the coverage. It's his own coverage. It's the simple read cutback, and he's going to take it for about, I want to say 6 yards there, or for about 3 yards there. But great job of the defensive line. Can't do any better than that.
And that'll bring up 2nd and 14 for the Rattlers.
And we talked about it earlier, too, the injuries in the offense. A lot of those guys in the offense for Santan play on the defense, so it's going to be interesting to see who steps up on the defensive side of the ball as well.
And we got a bit of laundry on the field as there's a lot of pressure on Diesel, and he makes a mistake, and we will see what the Zebras have in store.
I think it's going to be another call on the Crismon Rattlers here. It might have been an illegal alignment of some sort. Seemed to be a pre-snap whistle. It's going to be a false start in the Rattlers. Well, 2 early penalties on here, Lupe. Looking at about 2nd and 18, 17. Typically right here, what you're going to try to find yourselves in is more of a screen play or just something to get yourself in a 3rd and manageable. You look at it right now, it's just with the way both teams are very undisciplined early on for this offensive line for Crismon, going to have to fix that.
Definitely going to have to fix that if they're wanting to win. But
another penalty. 3 straight in the opening drive here for the offensive line for Crismon. You don't see that normally from teams.
No, definitely not. A lot of dysfunction on this field. We will see if they are able to shake off those jitters early in this game. Still plenty of football to go with 9-10 left still in the 1st quarter.
Quickly, and that one's going to actually be on the SaberCats there and offside. So both penalties early on both teams. But real quickly, hiding in the sand are these Rattlers. I mean, you take a look at it. They are 3-4 overall, but they're 3-1 in Crismon's last 4. And the defense has taken over in that span, 200 tackles, 4 sacks, an interception. And they're very much still alive in the playoff race and the region as well. But they're going to need help in that region play if they're going to want to win that region.
That 3A Central has been very tough the past 4 years. And the running back is taken down.
It's a great read here by the left side backer. You're going to see he reads the motion. Both him and the linebacker call it off. Completely gets through one-on-one in the open lane. That's a great job by the defensive tackle, 77 there, to give the one-on-one open lane. And at that point, it's you versus the running back. That's a great play by the SaberCats right there.
And that is Joseph Wilson on the tackle who takes down Adrian Hartman.
Quick first step by Wilson makes this a 3rd and long now. Could have easily been a huge run right there as it was one-on-one in that middle of the field and the B gap there. Great job by the young man.
Let's see how Crismon responds.
Might try to break one on that safety, make him make a decision with 2 go routes.
Diesel drops back, has a receiver, looks, and the ball is intercepted. Dalton Norman with a big interception. What a way to help your team out on defense is to get an interception and then get right back on the field and go under center.
You don't see this a lot. The quarterback playing safety makes a big play and a huge hit at the end there, but how about Dalton Norman getting the ball back for his offense right there? Huge play for the SaberCats on a 3rd down. What a great drive that was for the SaberCats, minus the offsides penalty. Stood tall there, gave up about 4 yards total there. Great job by them.
The Rattlers avoid a 3-and-out, but unfortunately for Diesel, gives up an early interception to the opposing quarterback. Should be interesting to see how this one turns out.
So far, it's been a defensive battle, right? A 4-and-out for the Santan offense and then an interception on 3rd down for the Crismon offense. So both these defenses came to play. And as we know, it's easier to plug guys in and fill them in on defense than it is on offense. So maybe that could be a positive with all the Santan injuries they've faced this year, which has just been brutal, to say the least.
A little bit of movement in the backfield as the Rattlers allow Santan to get maybe 5 to 6 yards on that carry as we prepare for 2nd and 5.
And the big threat for this Rattlers defensive line has been their outside edge rusher. You talk about it, number 1, Kenyon Steptoe. He's just got a quick first step, and he's just one of those guys that Many teams in the league, we even see this in college and the NFL, what every great team needs is that one edge rusher or defensive lineman that can go one-on-one and just blow past the lineman. And I think for Steptoe, he's one of those kind of guys that can do that any down, any time in the game.
We'll see if Steptoe is able to get his steps in tonight, as the running back is denied entry.
And a great replay right here quickly. You're going to see Steptoe's on the right side, so where do they run it to the left? That's just great game planning from a coaching standpoint. You want to run it away from the team's best player. What other way to take Steptoe out of the game than to completely go away from him?
Now we will prepare for third and 2, as the SaberCats are in the best position they have been all night, inching their way to the 50-yard line.
Third and short here. You're probably setting yourself up if you're Santan for either a 4th and inches or you're taking it to the outside here. It's 2-down territory, I think, all game for them.
Fulton in motion is taken down in the backfield, unfortunately.
We're going to see right here in the alignment from the defensive line, right? They edge over to the right. They bring both backers, and they just completely fill through. And the big play made there for the defensive line is going to be coming from number 35 there, Daniel Campisi. The defensive end, he completely sets the edge, it gets around. That's what we talked about, those guys who can go one-on-one and just completely blow past the tackle.
Fourth down for the SaberCats as they prepare for a punt. The kick is up. Ball drops. And it looks like it will be downed by a few SaberCats somewhere on the 30-yard line.
It'll be good to get a nice look at quarterback Diesel Robinson again for the Crismon Rattlers. We talked about it. 25 for 54 in the year, 316 yards, and now 4 touchdowns, over 3 interceptions. Just one of those years where you're still, still learning in the offense, and you're still trying to get the group on offense together. We know it takes a long time for offenses to gel together sometimes. Defensively, it's a lot easier. There's less assignments. And offensively, there's a lot more to take in and learn, but they're going to need him to keep up that little stretch he's been having the last 3 games if they're going to want to make the playoffs, and he's going to have to wipe away that last drive and have a good drive right here.
Let's see if he has that goldfish mentality and is able to put the bite back in the game for the Rattlers as the ball is handed off, and it is taken down after a few short yards of a gain.
Great testament so far and job to the coaching staff at Santan Foothills and Mike Carlin. They've got this defense ready despite all the injuries they've faced all year. Given up about 6 minutes to go in the first quarter. They've given up about 4 to 5 yards total on 2 drives. You can't get much better than that.
No, big kudos to Coach Carlin and his staff here in Santan Foothills. Love to see the resurgence here for the SaberCats as they try to put up a big defensive stop for the first quarter.
Pope in motion.
Diesel drops back, quick pass, and it is incomplete to number 5.
So he's reading the defensive lineman right here on the edge, the outside backer. He's watching number 44. 44 goes. Pope's got to sit in that route right there. Just gets a little bit too far upfield and almost another costly interception. As a receiver, you've got to be able to stop, and you got to be over the shadow where the backer's blitzing from. And right there, he just drifted a little too far to the right. Could have been a costly interception and been the second one for the Rattlers in the first quarter alone.
Now it is 3rd and 7 for the Rattlers as we await the snap.
Pope and Marquez down at the bottom of your screen here. Look for a smash concept maybe.
And the ball is swung.
And that's a fumble on the play.
And the Zebra will call him down as that will save the Rattlers another possible mistake.
That could have been a return right there, and you take another look at it. I mean, that's close to being a fumble there. Is he down, though? It looks like he just got the knee down before the ball came out there. A break for the Rattlers, but not really, as they're going to have to punt. And it looks like Dalton Norman's going to be back receiving the punt. So the quarterback so far got a pick, punt returning. He's playing quarterback. He's doing it all for this team. But I guess at this point, Lupe, when you're as injured as you are, guys like your quarterback are going to have to step up and start doing other things.
Definitely. Kick is up. Let's see what Norman does as he lets the ball bounce. And it takes a good Rattlers bounce, and it is recovered on the 20-yard line, and that is where the SaberCats will prepare to take off.
2 defensive stops for each team so far. It's been a defensive battle, to say the least, but I think when you take a look at it, you kind of should be expecting this. Santan's injured. The Crismon defense is playing the best that it is, and it's the reason to me that they're 3-4 right now. Defenses win championships. It's a saying that's been said. It's oldest as time. It's a timeless saying. Defense wins championships, and if it wasn't for their defense, who knows what their record would be right now, but the defense has stood tall, and I think that that's a very bright spot for Crismon to look back on this year, regardless of what happens with their season. They've built an identity on defense, and this defense is tough, and they will get gritty with you.
Very sluggish start for both teams, I'd say. We'll see if both teams are able to correct their negative ways as the SaberCats prepare for their 3rd drive of the quarter, and that is Fulton nearly taken down in the backfield, and he is leveled with a big hit.
Well, they've gone to this toss play 3 times already, and all 3 times it's gotten blown up in the backfield. This team flies to the ball, and who right there? Once again, we talked about it. The defensive end, Kenyon Steptoe, completely blows it up in the backfield. If they're pitching the ball back 3 yards and they're getting stuffed in it every time, you're going to have to change it up eventually.
They run like 5 plays.
Let's see if the SaberCats are able to get past the original line of scrimmage as they drop back for 2nd and 15.
Gotta love what the Rattlers defense does. They just swarm the ball every single play. Bit of a spread formation here for the SaberCats, though.
And Norman will take it right up the middle. Looks to get just past gets past the original line of scrimmage and close to the 1st down.
It's going to bring up about 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 here. I think if you're Crismon, you're going to stay in this nickel formation.
You said it earlier, Ant, that Dalton Norman is doing everything he can to ensure that the SaberCats walk away as winners.
I'd like to see the SaberCats go right back to that formation and run a little toss route with their running back and just dump it off into the flats to him. Crismon's probably going to bring 2 backers in the box to watch that. I would do it again here 100%. And it looks like
that offense is spread. A little bit of confusion there as to who had the ball.
You're going to see right here, look, they bring those 2 guys inside receivers. That's going to give these linebackers enough time to step up in the box and make a play. They're going to bring a 7-man box here, and I think at that point you've got to be able to adjust and bring some guys outside in order to give your quarterback time or running back. We know Crismon loves to stack the box, and the thing they do best is they stuff short yard routes. We talked about it all the time. 3rd and 1, 2nd and 4, 1st and 5. They stuff plays. And that is exactly why this defense is getting off the field here once again with 3:26 to play.
And another 3 and out for the SaberCats as the ball is punted again. Back and forth. And it is downed at the 38-yard line. And that is where the Rattlers will look to take control as we will take a short break here on the SoAZ VB Network. Back here at SaberCat Stadium as Diesel gets the snap here, hands it off.
And just absolutely stuffed in the backfield. A great defensive play once again for the defensive line. Watch right here in 1st down. It's going to be a simple outside zone. And yet again, the SaberCats defensive line breaks through the line of scrimmage and gets it for another tackle for loss. So far, both MVPs for each team has been each defensive line. All 5 guys are just making plays. And you know what, let me change that to say the least. Both MVPs are the front 7. The linebackers and the defensive line have been doing a tremendous job tonight so far.
It has definitely been a defensive game to start. Let's see if any offense can wake up here to see if we can get some numbers on the scoreboard.
No, just another stoppage in the backfield there.
Looked like a bit of miscommunication for the Rattlers there.
And you know, my roster sheet's down right now, but I can tell you number 77 for the SaberCats, I'm getting James Pierce Jr. vibes out of Tennessee. This guy is just breaking through the front level, whether you throw him at the outside edge or you throw him in the interior nose tackle. This guy's breaking through, not even in a second, and he has been the main reason that at least half of these runs have gotten stopped in the backfield. That's a game-changing kind of player right there, and I think that they're going to have to build around this defensive tackle on this defensive line for the next couple of years to come, because I don't believe he is a senior.
He is, unfortunately.
He is, unfortunately, a senior. Well, I can tell you right now, he is stepping up as the leader on this defensive line.
The last time we were here, we saw a big game out of 66, Michael Sierra. Let's see if we can get something the same as the Rattlers pick up their very first down of the night with a big reception.
Huge reception over the middle there from Robinson. He just sits in the pocket. Great job of the offensive line. Not a lot of pressure there, and he just fires an open one down the middle. That's what's going to happen when you don't get to the quarterback on a rush right away. You know, we see guys all the time in the NFL, 5 to 6 seconds. We got guys who make those seconds, though. Kyler Murray, Jaden Daniels, just to name a few. When you give those guys time in the pocket to make a throw, they're going to make it 10 times out of 10.
Got to give the wide receiver credit. That is Dante Little for that big reception for the Rattlers. And able to pick up a couple of yards there is Dominic Nix, as it is now 2nd and 8.
Another defensive stop here. Look, just a 4-man rush, and you're just going to see the linebackers, man, they're filling every single play. Looks like Santan's sitting in a 4-3 right now with their linebackers, and each time their outside wedge linebackers are coming through and they're filling their gaps. It's just a great testament to the coaching staff having this team prepared for this game. You got to give credit where it's due. With all the injuries, you're sitting at 3 and 4, and this team's playing as great as they can here with just 1 minute to go left in the first quarter.
And we will get a penalty on that play as we get a face mask against the Santan Foothills Sabercats, and that'll set up the Rattlers for another 1st and 10, inching their way to the red zone.
Trips outside here. Might try to go with that play that threw the pick on last time.
And it is a short pass. And the receiver is just taken down. If I'm not mistaken, that is Mr. Jaden Snowden once again.
Yeah, you know, Snowden's obviously been, it seems to be Robinson's favorite target over the last couple of weeks. He's got over 15 catches in that span for 100 yards. So he's definitely been Robinson's favorite target in that span. And, you know, that's one of the things you got to find midway through the season. There are certain connections that you don't realize, and, you know, guys build during the season. And I think right now we're starting to see that with Robinson and his receiver.
We will see if the Rattlers are able to strike first and are able to put up some points, as we are just under a minute here in the first quarter.
I think if you're the Santan defensive line, you've got to start to bring a linebacker with that motion just to throw off the Crismon offense. Each time they've ran the motion, they've had no linebackers go with them, so that gives the offense the awareness to know as a quarterback that it's going to be a zone coverage and it's going to be a zone read run. And I think for Santan, you've got to start to try to fool the offense a little bit and make them think.
15 seconds here in the first quarter as the Rattlers need to make their move fast if they want to score here.
Sitting in that 4-3 again, one high safety.
And they're going to let time expire, as that is the end of the first quarter here at Santan with the score of 0-0. We will take a short break here on the SOA's EVB Network. Thank you for joining us. We are back here at SaberCat Stadium for 1st and 10 for Crismon here in the second quarter.
Going with that motion, and again, nobody goes with it. Robinson under pressure.
And throws it just out of bounds. As, again, the SaberCats defense is making him work.
Well, right here, you're going to see the pressure coming. He's got a wide-open receiver in the corner there. Just got to hit him on that. That's a pitch-and-catch opportunity there, but a great pass rush by the SaberCats defense forces that incompletion. And a quick update, you know, the big game in 3A this week is Ben Franklin, the number 5 team, versus Florence, the number 4 team. And right now, 0-0 in the second quarter. So that's defensive battle there as well. And we're going to keep up with that game because that's going to be a huge game for both these teams, actually, because for Santan, they're in the region play still, and for Crismon, they got Florence next.
Yes, sir, as Crismon gets another shot here, but unfortunately, we might get a late flag. Possibly not.
Great job to get off the tackle right there on 51. You're going to see him. He's going to hit him with a crate, also crossover rip, and he just completely stuffs it for a 1-yard gain. This defensive line has been coached well. They're doing all the right things right now, and they're keeping this defense in. They're keeping this defense in the game, and they're keeping the secondary on their toes as this defense has time to react in the secondary, and you need that against a team that passes a bit like Crismon and does a lot of motions because it can get tricky sometimes.
Not really feeling like Crismon is reaching too far in their bag just yet. Still trying to get the first bit of action of scoring on the scoreboard as they are in the red zone looking to strike as that ball is caught.
They're going to say it's incomplete.
But dropped.
And again, right here, another motion. And they're motioning all day long, but this almost just another high ball. You know, I'm seeing Robinson throw a little bit of high balls lately here. Just got to settle in. Just got to make some pitch-catch throws. Got to do the things that a quarterback has to do right in a game. Just the simple things right there. Great protection by the offensive line that play. And it was just a little bit of an error throw there.
Let's see if the Rattlers are able to show a bit of their kicking game as they attempt to put a field goal.
I think Sandy just going to let it. And it's a muffed up one, and it's going to be recovered by the SaberCats. Again, we talk about it. Execution matters in this sport, and right there, a terrible execution. You're going to see right there, the fumble was recovered clean by SaberCats, number 30 there, and it's just one of the things. Got to be able to handle the snap and give your kicker an opportunity there. What could have been 3 points, what could have been 6 points on a touchdown has resulted in 0 from the Santan SaberCats defense and special teams. Great job.
Great job to Alex Delgado Lewis, who was able to recover that for the SaberCats. Now Santan will look to answer back as they thwart Crismon's attempt at 3 points there. And that's a big run for Santan. You gotta love that.
Well, you're gonna see Crismon's late to get everyone lined up here, and they're gonna just run the quick motion, and 14-21 just completely go with it, and it's an easy run up the middle for the SaberCats there. Great motion there by the SaberCats. They had to do it when they needed to, and they got 2 of the guys there. Caught off guard for the Rattlers front 7, made it an easy run there.
First and 10 for the SaberCats on the 35-yard line with 10:21 here to go in the second quarter. And that run is unsuccessful as it looks like they are taken down behind the original line of scrimmage as they prepare for 2nd and 12.
It's just been a very sloppy game for both teams so far, and the defense have stepped up to their credit, but offensively on both teams, just the execution just hasn't really been there through the first quarter and about 3 minutes of the second quarter here. Do you at all get a little concerned this late into the season that the execution is where it's at right now?
I am a little concerned, but at the same time, I have a strong suspicion that this weather has caught everybody off guard.
1,000%. I don't think anybody expected it to be, 66 breezy today?
Not at all.
I mean, we're so used to being in the summertime in quotations with a winter time at 110, so.
Yeah, summer here in Arizona tends to last past Halloween every year, but it is a cold one here tonight. And we prepare for 3rd and 3 as the SaberCats try to communicate what's coming up next, and they break for the line.
Once again, going to bring both their receivers in right over his tight end. It's going to be a timeout.
And we're going to get a timeout here on the SoAZ VB Network. Thank you for joining us. Back here at Santan Foothills. 3rd down for the SaberCats. And that's
Big gainer there for Norman.
big gain for the SaberCats.
Quick replay. You're going to see the motion from number 2. It's going to turn into a speed option, double option, and Norman decides to keep it. Sees the hold there, split between the corner and the outside backer. It's going to be a gain for about 20 there and a 1st down for the SaberCats. Can't get any better than that.
Nope, and that's exactly what you needed if you were Santan Foothills, needing to bring the energy here into SaberCats Stadium, as the cold weather has definitely made everybody a little bit calmer than usual.
And I think you go back to it right here on the other side of the ball. That's been your biggest play of the night so far, and why stop?
Dalton fakes a pass and will look to get about 6 yards on the quarterback keeper.
The key to the game for the SaberCats offensively so far has just been their run attack, and that's what they've done all year. But especially in this game, they've used Norman as their top carrier. We talked about it. We didn't know who was going to be in for guys like Holdenworth or any of these guys. Multiple guys have taken carries this year at running back, and I think in this game so far, their game plan's pretty simple. Dalton Norman's going to have to step up and do a lot of the workload, and so far so good for them, I would say.
There is a pair of 1s on his jersey, but I'm pretty sure underneath those 1s there is an S on his chest, because he is trying to do it all for the SaberCats tonight. Getting ready is the SaberCats. Get some motion there. Dalton drops back, looking to shake off some defenders, and throws it just ahead of the Crismon Rattlers there, and that was Kenyon Steptoe that was trying to chase that ball down.
And we talked about it, Steptoe. He's able to do it as a rusher, but he's also able to get in coverage and do it as well. He is just 1,000% the best player on this defensive team, and he elevates them so much more. Hopefully he's not a senior because I don't have my stat sheet, but this guy is 1,000% the backbone of the defense, and they've got to do everything through him.
And I think they will. He is, in fact, a junior, so they have 1 more year with this said talent. Ball is handed off there for Santan Foothills, and it is close to the 1st down, but looks like he will be just shy.
Looks like it's going to be about inches here. I think you just get on top of the ball right away and sneak it with Norman. He's no stranger to running the ball. I think they just got to be able to tush push him for about half a yard right here.
Tell him to put his head down and power. I said, tell him to put his head down and try to run through somebody. He runs too
4th
straight
and
up.
inches here.
It makes it easy to get
Santan
tackled.
Foothills trying to get a first down in Crismon territory.
I need half the yard. They're going to go in the gun here. Offset running back to the left here. And just, I think it's going to be bottled up just short. A half yard short and a flag on the play, though. Maybe it might be after. It possibly could be after. And a flag in the, and a hat in the air.
Hat in the air. That is not a good sign. Somebody is getting tossed.
This guy's been chippy so far.
It definitely has been.
And there is a lot on the line, so, I mean, I can understand. But right here, this is one of the plays where you hope it's not someone like Pope that got the hat pulled on them, because losing anybody on this defensive line right now, they're all stars in their own way. This could be huge for Crismon if it's on them.
Yeah, if you're on the Crismon sideline, you want to do everything that you can to try to make sure that your team keeps their composure. I got to hope that Coach Sines is able to keep his men composed here, because they do not want to throw this game so early with 6 minutes and 21 seconds to go here in the second quarter.
And just the swagger that the Crismon defense walks around with. They're confident, and, you know, it's going to be on, they're both going to be on Santan here. It's going to be interesting to see who's getting tossed for Santan, but this Crismon defense walks around with that swagger. And I've talked about it all game. This is what you love to see. You love to see teams who have the confidence, who've got the swagger, but can do it on the field as well. And this defense has been able to do it so far through a quarter and a half.
And when things were going well for Santan Foothills there, they have a big setback there that I don't know. It's not the same Santan Foothills we saw in week 1. I know that they have a ton of injuries that they're dealing with, but it's a different vibe out there, I'll say.
1,000%. And now, on a drive like that, just I don't like the call to be in the gun there. Would have loved to have seen him under center and just a push for a yard there.
Diesel scrambles.
I think that's coming back here, though. It's going to be a holding on the Rattlers. And another penalty.
You don't have any.
And it looks like it's,
Yeah, that's another flag.
I think it's going to negate. I think Sabercats got a late penalty there, possibly. I didn't quite see it, honestly. I thought the play was dead.
2 flags on the field. We're trying to get some clarification as to what's going on here. There's a lot of penalties going on in this game.
It's been a very chippy game, and I'll tell you what, this could be possibly, you know, one of those other rivalries in the 3A Central. We know as old as time, Coolidge and Florence is a historic rivalry, but I think right now, Sabercats and Rattlers starting to become a bit of a trending upwards towards what could be a possible another rivalry in the 3A Central.
It very well be. We can probably get the game of Big Teeth, Big Fangs. I don't know. We'll see what they come up with.
We might have to come up with a better name than that off the top of our heads.
I'm not really feeling it right now. I think I need a little bit more of a alliteration.
Daniel's probably in New York laughing at that one right now.
He's probably just shaking his head, calling me Richard Sherman right now.
Hey, he dropped that fairy magic dust on Citi Field today. Mets picked up a huge win over the Dodgers.
Yep, want to give a huge shout out to our captain, Mr. Daniel Guevara, out there in New York City, providing coverage for the NLDS with Fox Sports. Love you, bro. Be safe.
NLDS, NLCS, doing it all. Yep, offsetting penalties although it is high school. See, in the NFL there, the personal foul would overtake that.
So why are they going back? Shouldn't they be offsetting?
Yeah, very interesting to see why they're going back there. It looked like offsetting penalties there, but
Looks like the field staff was a little bit confused
okay, yes,
themselves.
they're going to keep it where it's at.
So it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Rattlers here with 6:12 to go in the second quarter here at Santan Foothills.
Saw Robinson step up in the pocket there. Nothing was open down the field. Used his feet. First time I've seen him do that today. He tends to do that a little bit in games. When you check the stats, usually that runs for about 3 to 4 times a game for about 30 to 20 to 30 yards. Might have to use his feet a lot more He's got to become one of those dual-threat quarterbacks. You know, last year's stats, he ran a lot more. This year, he seemed to have become a pocket passer a bit more.
Yeah, there has been a coaching change here at Crismon. Oh, as that ball is close to being intercepted. And just out of the hands of the intended receiver there, as Crismon escapes another shaky one as they prepare for second down.
Defense got to stand tall here.
And that pass was intended for number 8, Drew Campbell, the senior wide receiver for the Rattlers.
Another motion here. They have not gone with the motion all night long. And now it's going to cost them big.
As that is a first down for Crismon. And that is a big run.
Getting chippy again over there. And another flag. This has become a very chippy game between these two. A lot of talking on both sides. I'm telling you, this is a rivalry right now. This is becoming a rivalry game. I have not seen anything like this since, where was it last year? Vista Grande. I think it was Vista Grande, and I can't remember who they played. But it was chippy all game between them. I want to say Pueblo.
Vista Grande and Pueblo.
Pueblo, Vista Grande. I'm getting shades of that right here.
I'm feeling it as well. And it's not looking like there's a David and Goliath here. I can't see who's the bigger team. It seems like they're pretty evenly matched here. I just need to see somebody make a good decision here. Lots of chippy plays, lots of talk on the field, but they need to clean things up.
100%. I couldn't agree more. And it's one of those things where which one of these teams is going to take that reset button and realize we're tied. We're playing for a playoff spot right now.
Laundry still on the field as we await some clarification from the ref. And the penalty.
It's going to be a penalty on the Rattlers.
Yep, against Crismon there.
And what kills them most there is that was a huge run for them off the motion, which they hadn't been able to get all night long out of the 4-3 stack that the Santan Foothills SaberCats defense runs. And it's each team shooting themselves in the foot throughout this game so far.
Completely unfortunate for both sides, but it's going to shake out very soon here as we hope for some sort of offense here.
Gonna have to have something big here happen soon. It's been just very dead ever since the interception from Robinson and the multiple 4th and inch stops against Santan. It's just been a very, very, I don't want to say it's been passive, but it almost seems that way.
Almost, as that ball is received by Dominic Nix.
And this one's going to be coming back. It's going to be a holding call on the Crismon offensive line. And if you take a look right now, the SaberCats defensive tackle telling the ref he's grabbing his face mask. It's getting trippy. And I know I keep saying that, but I haven't seen anything like this in a while.
Yeah, I feel like a timeout is necessary right here. If you're one team or the other, you need to make sure that your guys are all on the same page, that this is a game and it is not a fight.
And I don't think Crismon's going to take that timeout. I think they like the animosity. I think they like the intensity that their teams bring in. And if you're Santan, do you really want to give up a timeout right now? 5:46 to go. You're tied right now, and they're backed up in a 1st and 20. I don't think you want to give them any time to discuss it.
Rattlers will take possession here for a 1st and 20.
Robinson's going to go in the shotgun with one running back behind him this time.
Robinson in motion, trying to avoid some tacklers, and has wide open and breaks for the sideline and gets a 1st down for the Rattlers. How about Diesel Robinson?
Got to use your feet, and you're going to see right here, makes a great move there, stays with the outside of it. Got to be careful with that ball on his right hand, though. That could have been stripped. Got to be careful with where your ball placement is as you're running, but nonetheless, a huge run on 1st and 20, sets up the SaberCats at around the 45-yard line. And through what we've seen in the last 2 minutes, it's a breath of fresh air, to say the least, to see that right there.
Definitely. That's what you needed if you're a Crismon Rattlers fan. But if you're a Santan SaberCat faithful, You want this defense to put up a stop right here.
Diesel's going to drop back again. Going to roll out again. And almost another pick or a catch. It could have been one way or the other.
That could have been so good or so bad.
Rolls out, and you're going to see just missed it, and almost somehow was a reception there. And again, it could have been a costly turnover if they catch a break.
Rarely in life do you get a second chance at that. But that wide receiver had another attempt at catching that ball on his back on the ground, and that was insane. Got to give a lot of credit there to A.J. King, Crismon Boyd, the wide receiver for the Crismon Rattlers. As a penalty will bring back the Rattlers 5 yards as they prepare for 1st and 15.
Again, just another penalty in this drive. I think both teams at halftime are going to get quite to talking to about just being disciplined, especially in the line. That's where most of the penalties have come from in this game.
Diesel hands off. And it is out of bounds, and that ball is ran by Adrian Hartman, the sophomore running back for the Rattlers. Picks up about 3 or 2 yards on that play as it is 2nd and 12 for the Rattlers. Time slowly ticking away here in Santan Foothills as the clock reads 4:20 here in the 2nd quarter.
Rattlers taking their time in this drive right now. Going to probably go into their 4-minute if they can muster up a first down here within these next 2 plays.
Robinson fakes the handoff, drops back, and throws the ball out of bounds to avoid being taken down.
Could have been close to intentional grounding there as he just got out the pocket, but close enough to having a receiver inbounds. That was close right there, though. Got to be careful if you're the Rattlers, especially on this drive right now, which I think you could say has been their longest. Not sure if it's been their best, but you definitely don't want to get even more penalties and back yourself up, especially when you're sitting at a 3rd and 13 right now.
One thing that I'm definitely noticing is a little bit of early fatigue setting in for number 15. That is Diesel Robinson with his hands on his hips. I think this cold weather is causing him to breathe a little bit heavy. Let's see if he'll be able to treat that during halftime.
Running back all set to the left here. Going to bring another motion. It's going to probably be a rollout to the right.
Toss to the left.
And it's stuffed in the backfield, maybe even a loss of 1 on 3rd and 13. Another great job by the SaberCats defense, sorry.
And that is Nix with the short gain there as we prepare for 4th down. And both teams not able to get anywhere on this field offensively. What do you think that they need to do at halftime to make the change to just move the ball forward?
Well, I think it's one of these games where you got to at least talk to your team and tell them the positives first. You know, reassure them that even though it's a tie score at nothing apiece, you've got to show yourself what you've done right and what you need to work on. And I think for both teams right now, it's just got to be the passing game for the Crismon Rattlers. And I think for Santan, it's just got to be the decision-making on 3rd and 4th down as it's a muffed-up punt. And it's going to be down at around the 37, 36-yard line. So, again, special teams turnovers. I would say turnovers. Special teams execution at an all-time low right now for the Rattlers in this game has set up the SaberCats with the best field position of the night with 3:07 to go.
Yeah, we are. At least I'm trying to figure out how both teams are standing here as they repeatedly are shooting themselves in the foot. They are not going to have very much leg to go here if they continue to make these kind of mistakes throughout the night. 3 minutes to go here in the first half. And we are looking at a scoreless game, and it is a tight one here in this battle for the 3A Central. Norman sends Fulton in motion, and the ball is handed off. And the running back will pick up about 3 yards, maybe 2 there, as we prepare for 2nd and 8.
Santan here, looking at about a second and long here, 2:34 to go. I think you're just going to try to run the clock down here and set yourself up for either a short field goal or taking it scoreless to halftime.
Great handoff there for the SaberCats as they are getting close to the first down. As we prepare for 3rd and 1, and the SaberCats need to move quick if they want to put up some offense on this board before the first half expires.
Just rolling up to the 2-minute warning here. As now we are under 2 minutes to go. And yeah, you talked about it. It's one of those things where the sense of urgency needs to be there. I know it's a tie game, but you want to put the ball in the end zone here. You haven't been gifted this kind of field position all night. It's been a struggling game for both teams, very sloppy. It's been a very talkative game on both sides of the ball, a lot of trash talking. As you're going to see, Norman goes with the option route again, and that's been the play that's worked for them the most so far. And I think they've got to stay with it.
And it's been working for them so far tonight, and that brings up a SaberCats first down as they are just a few yards away from their red zone with a timeout here with 1:35 to go in the second quarter. We will take a short break here on the SoAZ VB Network. And we are back here at Santan Foothills, and we get another whistle and another timeout. And with that whistle, we will take another short break here on the SoAZ VB Network. And we are back here at SaberCats Stadium. 1:35 to go here in the first half. As Norman gets a pass that is complete to his receiver, and he will be able to pick up a few yards there.
And, you know, that's pretty crazy to say. That's the 4th completion for Norman on the year. He's now 4 for 8 on the year with about 70 yards. Does not pass the ball much at all, as you could see from the statistics. But right there, just a great, easy pitch and catch to the outside. One-on-one with this guy, gets to the outside leverage, and we're taught as a quarterback that we have to throw that to the outside shoulder with a minute to go.
SaberCats needing to move with some urgency if they're looking to strike here with 1 minute to go here in the first half.
And it's going to be stuffed for about a 1-yard gain there. Again, the defensive line for the Rattlers just comes up big once again. Seems like I've been saying that all night long, Lupe.
Yeah, and that was Ryan Campbell, the senior linebacker for the Rattlers, making the play. You are going to see number 10 make a lot of big plays tonight. Mark my words. 2nd and 10 for the SaberCats as they look to get into the end zone. Dalton moves left, avoids a tackle.
Makes a nice move in the pocket there.
Gets his receiver, hits him in the chest, but he is met by a few Rattlers and is taken down just a few yards ahead of the original line of scrimmage.
I think the SaberCats got their last time out of the half off here. Going to have none to work with, but a short field to go. Going to have to come up with something big here.
We will prepare for 3rd and 6 with 21 ticks on the clock before we take our halftime break.
2-4 on the clock.
Excuse me, they are going to adjust the time on the clock and make it 24 seconds to go as both teams still in the huddle. One trying to put up 6 and the other one trying to make a defensive stop. Want to thank the Santan Foothills SaberCats for having us out for the 2nd time this year. Want to give a huge shout out to Mr. Romero, their athletic director, who has been very helpful for us this entire adventure since we've started the Varsity Breakdown. And Santan Foothills has been one of those teams that feel like our second home. So thank you again to the SaberCats.
I think coming out of the huddle here, you're going to have to try to take shots to the end zone here. You don't have much field to work with. Or what you could do is try to get one run off and get back on the ball and try it again. But you're in a 3rd and 10 situation. If you have the chance to take the field goal, I think you just try to go to the end zone here. And if you don't get it, take your 3, because this is the closest they've been to the end zone all game. And even to scoring points this game, I think you got to take them where you can get them, especially against a defense like this.
Dalton gets a handoff. Nope.
And it's
pass. And that is caught by number 9 for the Santan Foothills SaberCats, and that is Jackson Reno, the senior wide receiver, puts up 6 points for the SaberCats.
Completely gets past one-on-one with the outside corner, hits an outside double move to get in on the post, and at that point, Norman's got to sit in the pocket and make a great throw, and he does. Lobs it right into the receiver's hands there, one-on-one off a post route. Can't ask for anything better than that. SaberCats get on the board first with 18 to go.
You said it, 18 to go here in the 2nd quarter, and the SaberCats put up 6, looking to make it 7. Kick is up and good. Score is now 7-0, Santan.
I think what a great drive that was. I mean, they had the short field to go due to the muffed punt, but just being able to muster out 3rd and shorts, which they hadn't been able to do early on, and then they were able to take the top off with 2 straight passes. Norman gets his first touchdown pass of the season. Great job with the SaberCats offense.
Gotta love it. These SaberCats are looking to build on it. This is a very hungry team. Let's see if they are able to hold them. But we have seen how Crismon's special teams has been this game so far. Hopefully, Santan is able to capitalize. And it is a pink out here at Santan Foothills, as it is also Military Appreciation Night. You'll notice a bit of camo on the shoulders for the Santan Foothills SaberCats. We want to stand alongside them in thanking all of our first responders and nation service members. Want to give a shout out to Tim Owens, who is watching us from Washington, D.C., and, of course, Mr. Daniel Guevara, who is tuning in all the way from the Big Apple.
Shout out to you, Daniel. Hope it's going well up there at the NLCS. Well, what an experience that is. And, hopefully Daniel can bring back some stories for us. Daniel is a man of many stories. I have heard from him personally. Funny guy. Some would say he's very funny.
I think he's all right.
And a muffed reverse attempt there for the Rattlers.
Oh, no. And that swing may prove to be fatal for the SaberCats as the Rattlers special teams.
And it's not going to matter because guess what? There's a holding call on the Rattlers, and it's going to be coming back.
What a play. If you're the Rattlers, you have got to be a little bit sick because that was your chance to make this game brand new once again. But now, clock is showing 0. We are going to wait to see what the officials have to say before both teams head into the locker room for halftime.
That's going to be a holding call on the Rattlers, which will bring that all the way back.
Just an absolute drive-killing penalty right there. Obviously, it was a special teams play, but that is one of those plays where, especially going into half, that just kills the momentum. What could have been a tie game going into halftime is possibly now going to be 7-0 SaberCats.
Yeah, and if your coach signs, you got to go into halftime and let these boys know that these simple mistakes cannot be made in the second half. If you want to walk away winners and have a little bit of momentum as you go into next week and you face a strong team like Florence, you need to take care of the SaberCats here and now.
Not sure how much time is going to come back on the clock here, if any, but that just seems to be the name of the game for the Rattlers, right? Big play, penalty. Big play, penalty. And at some point, they're going to have to clean it up because you're at a point now where you're 3-4, you're 3-1 in your last 4. You can't be making these kind of mistakes.
Definitely not, but
Thank you for the SaberCats. You just got to drop back everybody here. Not sure why we're playing far up. I would just drop back into a 3-man deep here of prevent defense.
and still a lot of confusion as there is no time on the clock, but there is an untimed play as a little bit of trickery for the Rattlers as that play will be downed, as that'll do it for the first half as the SaberCats lead the Rattlers 7-0. And as we take a short break here for halftime, we want to thank everybody here for joining us as we will return with some first half updates here on the SoAZ VB Network. And we are back here at Santan Foothills, ready to give you a quick score update with some games going around the state. Currently, Coconino leads Apache Junction 34-7 at half. ALA Ironwood is up on Tempe 28-6. And Arizona College Prep 21-0 up over the Combs Coyotes now in the third quarter. Coolidge, unfortunately, is losing big to Push Ridge Christian Academy, 55-0. In a big rivalry game happening right now in Eloy, the Santa Cruz Valley Dust Devils lead the Sequoia Pathway Pumas 36-0, and Ben Franklin, with a 2-touchdown lead on the Florence Gophers, could possibly squeak them out if the Florence Gophers don't turn this one around. Still awaiting some updates between the matchups with Maricopa and Tucson, Desert Sunrise and Alhambra, and Casa Grande and Sunnyside.
Very surprising out in Florence, 14-0. We talked about that Florence offense. They get off the slow starts at times, and I said I don't know what kind of Florence I'm going to see this week. I went with them this week in my picks, but right now, just shocker to say the least.
And that kick will go out of bounds close to the 21-yard line, as that's where the Rattlers will look to take control.
And ALA Ironwood's up 28-6 over Tempe right now, so they're sticking it to them. River Valley up 42-0 over Odyssey. River Valley might be one of those teams where no one's talking about them. They're in the top 6. They might be the team in the 3A. But at halftime, it is 14-0 Ben Franklin over Florence. That game is at half right now, so
we'll see if Coach Hart and the Gophers are able to pull together some second-half magic and upset the Ben Franklin Chargers.
Going to be interesting to see what the Crismon Rattlers come out to do here with their first drive. We talked about it, Lupe. They tried to pass all in the first half, just could not seem to get it going. And when they did, negated by a penalty every time.
No, that first half was just overridden with penalties, as that is going to be a big sack in the backfield for none other than number 66, Mr. Michael Sierra.
It's a trick double pass play there with both quarterbacks in the backfield, and they completely get it. I think it's going to be a sack on the running back there. Nonetheless, not sure if they're going to consider it a sack, or maybe they're going to consider him a running back there. Nonetheless, a tackle for loss or a sack. You'll take what you can get. 2nd and 15 here, 7-0. SaberCats looking good in this game, man. You know, this is one of the games where they're the 3-4 team. Obviously, their odds to make the playoffs are a little bit worse than Crismon's, but if Crismon loses this game, that's detrimental to their playoff odds.
Mm-hmm. Robinson gets the snap, gets back, quickly makes the pass, and his wide receiver gets up close to the first down marker, and that receiver is number 8 for the Rattlers, Drew Campbell.
Campbell's been the guy defensively, and you're seeing it in offense now, starting to get him going a bit more. And I know this isn't a football update, but a bit of a random update is out in Cleveland for the ALCS. Yankees just took 2 runs to go up 8-6, and they've got the bases loaded with 2 outs right now.
Let's go Yankees.
You know, personally, I think the real people of America want to see the Guardians versus Mets, but hey, that's just me.
The real people of America.
I do. I think the real fans don't want to see, as it's a botch snap and Robinson's going to be able to get on it. Yeah, I 100% do. You know, I think, casuals want to see Yankees-Dodgers.
Well, I guess today I will be a casual.
I knew it's coming.
That is going to be taken back for a 2nd and 13 for the Rattlers.
And just, again, they just haven't seemed to have been able to get the communication down. I think that's, 3 botch snaps, 2 on special teams, 1 on offense here in this game. Just cannot seem to get it going offensively for both teams.
Ball is handed off to Nix. Nix still on his feet, looking to get past the 40-yard line, and does, but is taken down as we prepare for a 3rd and maybe 7.
I think if you're the Crismon Rattlers, Nix has been your number 1 running back all year long, and the run game has been working the most of anything in this game, and I think you got to continue to go to it right now on this drive before you make any passes, because the passing game just has not been there today. It's been ruggish, it's been slowish, and it's been in bits and parts. It hasn't been a whole complete game of it.
Not at all, as we have a penalty on the field.
It's going to be a late false start. They let that play go on a little bit before they threw the flag there.
And the ball will get placed a little bit behind the original line of scrimmage, as we will replay the down for 3rd and 11. Robinson takes a snap, moves to his right, takes a look at his receivers, and it's an interception one more time for the SaberCats as that ball is taken out of bounds.
And another late flag is going to come in on the play. I think it's going to be after the interception, though. So regardless, another turnover for Robinson and the Rattlers. And Santan Foothills defense standing tall today.
Let's see what the refs will have to say as we find out.
And I think, like I was saying earlier, you just got to stick to the run game. That pass game just has not been there all day today. It's just been ruggish throws. Linemen have been doing their job sometimes. And I just think that you've got to be able to establish the run in the second half. Right there, they take the deep shot and just right into the hands of the defense. And if you're Santan here, do you take this drive pretty slow, or do you try to take a shot yourself right here? I mean, I know it's a 7-point game, but off of a turnover coming out of the second half here, might try to catch the Rattlers defense off not offsides, but catch them by surprise here.
No, I think if you're Santan Foothills here, you have to go for it. This 7-point lead is anything but comfortable for them. As we get a handoff there, and we will get a good gain of maybe 4 yards there, as we prepare for 2nd and 6.
Another motion here you're going to see they give it with the 2 lead blockers and a pulling guard. There is an outside trap. Just a great job by the offensive line for the Santan Foothills SaberCats, plowing their way through. Solid 7-yard gain there.
Tell that kid to put his head down and run through somebody.
Lots of energy here in the SaberCats
I don't want to get yelled at.
press box.
Coaching from the press box. I think it's illegal.
Voice of the SaberCats, Mr. Hillerman, in the background.
Ball, hold the ball.
And looks like we will get
And
some
the refs just
forward
getting, yeah, I was going
progress
to say, that ref's got to take a long time to get the whistle there.
because he was taken back
Yeah.
7 yards before
At some point, you got to hold the whistle on that for forward progress, man.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, first down, and taking it pretty slow this drive. See, they're doing what I think the Rattlers should do. Right now, you just got to establish that run. It's the second half. You're banged up. You're tired. It's week, 8, I'd say, for 3A. It's week 7, though, for most teams. You're banged up. You're tired. Late in the season. Your run game is what's going to propel you right now in late situations.
Who's the little one on the cheer squad?
And SaberCats have motion. Ball is handed off.
And it's going to come back on a holding call, it appears.
And it's mad unfortunate for the SaberCats to have big plays like that negated with penalties. And that was
And it's
holding
another hat tossed.
Oh my gosh! Did you just get thrown out for yelling at a referee?
Who yelled at him?
And it looks like we have some dysfunction on the field, as we might have an ejection.
I think that's the second one for the SaberCats. Second one on the line. And when you're already injured, You just cannot have these things happening, especially this late into a season.
No, you got to keep your emotions in check.
Holding. That's it. And then unsportsmanlike conduct. Yeah.
So that's 2 penalties on the SaberCats, a holding and an unsportsmanlike conduct. Definitely not the direction you want to be moving if you're an STF fan.
And I got another update. 37 seconds up to go in the third quarter. Ben Franklin 21, Florence nothing. It's just been all Ben Franklin.
That's something that a few of us had anticipated because I know that our cameraman holding it down, Mr. Augie Chang, who is up there weathering the elements, has definitely high hopes for this Ben Franklin team, and I know that that score has definitely got to be putting a smile on his face. Dalton takes a snap, runs right up the middle for a keeper, and will get good yards on his own 2 feet as we get another flag on the field. Whistles being blown.
It just seems to be a flag after flag on this game.
Personal foul against Crismon. Yeah.
Flag on the play.
And the penalties are just going back and forth between both teams. It's been a chippy game from the beginning, but we expected both teams to get better with it. This is not a normal rivalry game, but you mentioned it earlier. This could be brewing to be another exciting rivalry for the central part of Arizona.
And I think especially when this is a rivalry game like this, both of these teams have to understand, though, you have playoffs on the line. You cannot have guys being ejected for next game, especially if you're Santan Foothills, because the road does not get easier from here.
Looks like the Zebras let a little offsides get away with there as the SaberCats will be within 2 yards of a first down.
Can bring up a second down. Yeah, just another quick update. In that Florence game, Ben Franklin has been stuffing the Florence run all game, and they just continue to keep trying to run the ball there. And that's what I talked about is what are we going to see from Florence that's different? And it's the same thing as last time against Ben Franklin. And that's not me dissing or anything, but the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
And that run is stuffed as the Crismon defense does their job, and they bring up a third down for the SaberCats. And I didn't think that was dissing at all. I know that you're very critical of your former team, but that is only because
I want to see them win, man.
You want to see them win, and you know when they're struggling like this, you want to challenge them so that way they can put forth the effort to bring forth that dub. Right now, just not looking like that's going to happen for the team in red.
I know there's a bunch of dudes over there, but none of them.
3rd and 2nd here for the SaberCats. As we get motion, Dalton gets a handoff. Looks like he will keep it instead.
He's going to have just enough for a first down.
And that's exactly what they needed. And as he is able to get that first down, and the chain gang will move as the SaberCats are slowly and methodically making their way up the field with 6:12 to go here in the third quarter, looking to add another touchdown on the scoreboard. And it's a cold one here in Santan Foothills. I did not expect this weather to be like this. I think this on top of a little bit of a lack of sleep is causing me to be a little less energetic than usual.
Another deep snap for Norman. Over the middle. What a nice play there.
Just blow the whistle now. And that's a good reception there for Santan Foothills, but
look at him fight, man. Just keep fighting.
The officiating crew is definitely allowing them to do just that, as that looks like Drew Kaufman there on the reception for the SaberCats.
If the officiating is going to let plays go on like this, though, they cannot expect there to not be disgruntling after plays like that because it gets chippy, and they shouldn't be surprised if they're going to let the plays continue to go on as long as they have been.
Yeah, that was the second instance in this quarter where the whistle should have been blown seconds before.
Another penalty on the SaberCats. What, between this game and the game we did last time, between Casa Grande and Buena, penalty central.
Yeah,
You'd think
tons of
you'd think we're in Pennsylvania penaltyville, man.
lots and lots of penalties in this game. It does seem to be a little bit more faster paced than the Casa Grande and Buena game, but if you're the Rattlers, something's got to give here. You've already made a couple of costly mistakes on special teams, and Diesel, I know he's definitely unhappy with those 2 interceptions. He has got to turn it around if he wants to be true to his word and put away these SaberCats now.
We got 20 minutes to go here still, but it's going to have to start on this next drive for Diesel. And it looks like it's going to be a gain for about 1 or 2 yards in the play. It's been a smash-mouth football game for the Santan SaberCats.
About 2 yards. Second down and 8, SaberCats.
Brings up about a second and long here. I think at some point you got to try to take the top off here again. They had a nice completion before over the middle for about 17 to 18 yards.
SaberCats center is on the ball as we prepare for 2nd and 8 here in the 3rd quarter with 4:54 to go. Ball is up the middle and could be close to a first down. And that is Holden Mikeworth with a huge run for the Santan Foothills SaberCats.
Slow drive for the SaberCats, yet effective. As we could see in the 3rd quarter, they've killed off almost 5 minutes of the clock. And, you know, it doesn't seem like that with how far they've gone in yards, but all the penalties have brought them back, so to each his own.
Yeah, they're over the 50-yard line. Let's hope that they can continue to push further as we get movement.
Wow, it's going to be another penalty. False start.
False start on the SaberCats will move them back and replay first down.
Man, I'm just watching the whole game. That Crismon defense is just talking to that Santan sideline. They are just chippy. They are aggressive, and you know what? I'm getting to the point of where just focus on the game and on the field here. You know, at some point, you got to be locked in the situation. You're down 7. You cannot be talking right now to anybody. It's going to be a timeout by the SaberCats here and Coach Mike Carlin.
And we will take a timeout here on the SoAZ VB Network. Back at Santan Foothills,
Behind you.
Dalton connects with his receiver. And that is good for a gain of a couple of yards, as that is completed to Dion Johnson, the junior wide receiver for the SaberCats.
And a little bit of breaking news. Florence just got on the board and failed the field goal attempt that got blocked. It's 21-6, 8:39 left to go. So, I mean, unless Florence starts to actually pass the ball, it's going to be pretty much over in that game, unless they can figure it out with 8 minutes to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I expect that.
3 minutes to go in the third quarter. Man, it seems like this entire third quarter has just been SaberCats.
It has been, and that is a big defensive stop for Crismon as Ryan Campbell is able to get a deflection there, and that'll bring up a big third down for the SaberCats. If you're the Rattlers, how do you capitalize on that big defensive stop to make sure that you either walk away with a good 3-and-out or possibly get a fumble recovery or possibly an interception?
Well, I think going into the next drive for Crismon, this can't just be a drive where, okay, we're going to run a lot. Now you're at the point of where, you know, teams think that they can just run the ball all the time and win. And that's not the case. You have to be able to have a pass attack. And you have to be a good enough coach and coordinator to understand the game of football and be able to break it down. And I think for Crismon, they're going to have to throw in some passing. I would love to see just concept passing plays. Smash, mesh, all that. As a deep shot over the middle is going to be incomplete. But again, right there, I like the concept. Nice little dagger concept there. 2 red line fade routes with an in coming over the top. Safety's got to make a decision. Norman makes the right read, just overthrows this guy a bit. But it's just one of those things where a lot of these coordinators, they got to be able to be a second-half coach. They got to be able to adjust. And I think for Crismon right now, you can establish a couple runs here, but I think the first 4 out of 6 plays on this next drive, if they can get to 6 plays, got to be passes. Got to be able to pass, run, pass, or any combination. Just whatever the defense gives you on it.
What?
He did this and then pointed that way.
False
False
start.
start. Decline.
Declines.
As we will get a false start on the SaberCats, and they will replay 4th down
10.
and get ready for a punt.
I like it.
Kick is up.
Punt.
Looking for a fair catch, and the Rattlers will resume play on the 20-yard line when we return with 2:43 to go in the third quarter.
So we close the snack bar just because, or what?
Wow. Maybe they ran out of stuff?
I doubt that. Or their workers gave up.
And we are back as Diesel is back under center for the Rattlers. Gets the ball and is off with a quick toss.
He went out of bounds.
And we have another flag on the play.
Really?
Another penalty flag on the play. First down run by
And it's just to the point of where it is just, it's unreal at this point.
on the field. It's like, what? Injury come out?
No.
No.
Yeah, they said trainer.
Oh,
Who's down?
I don't know.
And the calling for an injury timeout here. And
I don't see the injury though.
can't quite see what's going on here, but
Yeah, not really sure exactly what's going on.
it's a 15-yard penalty.
But we do know that there is a flag on the field.
So it must have been face mask or some kind of personal foul.
Personal foul penalty on the SaberCats.
this has been a very odd game to say the least.
Very odd, low scoring, but
Now at their 41-yard line.
very exciting defensively.
You know how hard it is for me to not just yell in this microphone and be like, get it together, oh my God.
I know, right?
So Rattlers get motion for 1st and 10 on the 40.
So weak-minded, you
Diesel drops back,
Get him! Get him!
avoids contact,
Get him!
tosses it.
And I don't think that anybody was in the area there, but nonetheless, no intentional grounding there. Another quick update. Florence was able to get a quick stop. Ben Franklin punting with 6 minutes to go in that game, 21-6.
It's the game that'll never end.
Yeah, exactly. Should have been done by now.
And it is going to be 2nd and 10 for the Rattlers as the defense gets right on the line.
And it's going to be offsides on the play. Might even be a neutral zone infraction.
And this has been a game that's been marred with so many penalties. And it's definitely not the game that I expected. I thought that both teams would come in a little bit more fiery and looking to get a win. And I can't tell if one team is more hungrier than the other. Both teams still seeming very sluggish. Lots of trash talk, but this isn't a game about talking. This is a game of scoring, and only one team has been able to do that so far.
Yeah, a lot of talking for teams that are both battling for buy-in spots to playoffs right now, and it doesn't seem like either team is playing like they're trying to get into the playoffs right now.
No, sir, as that is going to be a completed pass for the Rattlers, as they will have a 20-yard shift and end up on the 40-yard line of the SaberCats. They are in definite need of some offensive action here as we have 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go here in the third quarter.
A little bit of a drive coming up right now for the Rattlers. Going to see if Robinson can stick with it in the passing game, as it's going to be a give.
And Nix will get a gain of 4
And that's
there.
going to be a unsportsmanlike conduct call. I think they're on the SaberCats at the end of the play.
If not on the SaberCats, it could go either way. This is a game.
Yeah, you don't know.
This is a game that's turning ugly very fast.
It's honestly turning into one of those things where you went to a fight and a football game broke out.
I don't know what they did. Blocking the back.
And it's going to be on the Rattlers. So just when they get a nice pass gain and they get a nice solid run, like I said, negated all that right there by a penalty.
And that'll bring up 1st and 15 for the Rattlers. They are now on the 45 of the SaberCats, but are moving in the completely wrong direction.
Going to have to get something big here. Minute 55 left to go in the third quarter. Very slow quarter, to say the least, with all the penalties. Just been detrimental.
Pope moves in and moves inside as the ball is handed off to Nix. Nix will get back past the original line of scrimmage as we prepare for 2nd and 9.
About a minute to go in the third quarter here.
.121 to go here in the third quarter.
Florence is in the red zone right now with 6 minutes to go, 21-6. So, you know, game might not be over yet. They've got Logan Stinson at quarterback and, you know, playing with Logan for a couple of years. I just know that down 21-0, that's 7-0 to that kid. So we'll see if he can help bring that comeback for them. As Robinson's going to take a fire over the middle, and it's completed.
And that is a good pass for the Rattlers as they pick up another crucial first down. And that is a big first down. The Rattlers need to capitalize on this, as that is a huge reception for number 8, Drew Campbell.
Rattlers trying to go quick here. No huddle offense. Try to get the defense on their toes.
Robinson takes a snap, hands it off to Nix. Nix is making a strong run up the middle. Will get a gain of about 9 yards.
Looks like they're going to go quick on the ball again here, try to get something going.
2nd and 1. 1st and goal, excuse me. Rattlers.
And it's what's going to be a touchdown is not going to be a touchdown.
Because of a
Another
flag.
penalty flag on the Rattlers. This has been the story of the game, the name of the game for them.
And there is a lot of upset fans here in the Santan Foothills crowd. But if you are on the side of the Crismon faithful, this is exactly what you wanted to make this game more interesting, with near 12 minutes to go, because we have 20 ticks left before this third quarter expires.
And I did, and it's going to stand as a touchdown. So a run for the Rattlers is going to tie it up.
And that is a touchdown for Mr. Nix as the Rattlers put up 6 points, and we await the extra point or see if they go for 2 to take the lead.
Quick update in Florence, 4th and 2. They're at the 5-yard line with 4 minutes to go. 3:39 left to go in that game. And, talked about earlier, Florence, Logan Stenson with a big hit shot to his brother Wyatt Stenson, set them up in the red zone after a run from Zayden Cundiff. So, just keep an eye on that because that's probably the biggest game of the week here in the 3A.
Let's see if Florence can become the town of brotherly love tonight.
Would be an amazing comeback.
And they changed their mind. Instead of going for 2, switch it up and kick the extra point as this game is knotted up 7-7 with 20 seconds to go in the third quarter. We will take a short break here on the SoAZ VB Network. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Rattlers prepare to kick off here to wrap up the third quarter.
It's going to be an onside.
Onside attempt is no good.
And I don't understand the decision there at all. You're tied 7-7. It's the third quarter. You've just set up Santan at about the 50-yard line with the ball after you scored. Your defense has been doing a great job. I don't understand the call one bit, but hey, I'm not the coach. And another quick update, Logan Stenson runs the ball in for a touchdown. Florence 21-12, and I think they're going to go for the 2-point, and they are going for the 2 points. So I'll get a quick update on that in a second.
So much good football here when you think of the Florence School District. You have the Florence Gophers, the Santan Foothills Sabercats, and, of course, the Poston Butte Broncos. This is a city that loves their football. Sabercats have possession, and we get a handoff where they get a gain of about 1. And if you're the Sabercats, do you look to try to slow down the pace of this game, or do you try to pick things up as we near the fourth quarter as the whistle is about to blow? And that's the end of the third.
And just a quick update, not sure what happened in the Florence game, but big news for the Florence team. Quarterback Logan Stenson's down with an injury, and I'm being told it's pretty bad. From what I can hear, from what I'm being told, it's pretty bad.
That is unfortunate news, but let's hope that Mr. Stenson is able to make it up on his own 2 feet.
Looks like quarterback Logan Stenson is getting up on his own 2 feet. However, 2-point was no good. They're down with 3 minutes, 21-12. I think that game's as good as over. Florence takes their first loss yet again. And that'll be an interesting topic to talk about in the next episode. I 100% believe that.
Yeah, definitely not the result that they were looking for. I know that they considered this a revenge game in the town of Florence. And it's tough when you're facing a team like Ben Franklin. Ben Franklin just brings it every time.
Oh, 100%. They're one of the best coach teams in 3A, and it sucks.
And that's going to be another short gain as we prepare for a third down for the SaberCats as we have 3rd and 8.
Couple yards. Let's go 3rd and 7. All on 7. You gotta try it.
SaberCats got the ball at just over the 50-yard line here.
Different.
They know what's coming.
Man, if you're the SaberCats, what do you do in this situation?
I feel like you got to air it out. You've been able to connect with a few short passes. You mentioned it earlier. Dalton Norman was able to pick up his first touchdown pass of the year tonight. Let's see if he can get another one.
He's got his man. And just a great defensive play there by the Crismon Rattlers.
And you got to love that defensive intensity by none other than Dominic Nix right there, nearly coming down with the INT.
I mean, I think if you're the SaberCats, you go for it here, honestly, at the 50, but they're going to take their punt. I mean, I'll ask you right now in the 4th, who needs this win more, SaberCats or the Rattlers?
The Rattlers. The Rattlers need this win. And I want to make a correction. That was Kavion Belcher on that play. But the Rattlers need this win because if they are able to put away the SaberCats, they come into next week and put away the Florence Gophers. That will do wonders for them in the rankings.
It would be huge. And I think another penalty is called by these refs. This is just unreal.
And with that flag, it looks like it may be in the favor of the Crismon Rattlers, as there is a lot of drop shoulders coming into the Santan Foothills SaberCats sideline.
And I don't understand why. You're tied at 7 in the 4th quarter with about 11 minutes to go. You're right in this football game, and it's huge. Winning team here goes 4-4, neutral record. Losing team's 3-5. Your season's pretty much over at that point. But I think right now you got to be telling yourself this could be our last quarter of football with playoff contention on the line, because whoever loses this game, it's going to hurt them in the rankings, I think, a lot. Based on where both teams are at right now, I think it's a loser-leave situation kind of thing.
It is, and one thing that I am seeing that is completely not football related, but cameraman on the field, Raf Garcia, showing some love to our Santan Foothills SaberCats, as that pass
Almost intercepted again.
is nearly intercepted.
It's going to bring up a 2nd down and 10 and just it's almost like the winner of this gets it's like a custody of the play. It's like a custody of the playoffs. It's like little wrestling reference, people. This is the custody of Dominic ladder match, essentially. Dominic is the playoffs. Both teams fighting for that playoff spot. Someone has to come ahead over the other here with the last 11 minutes to go.
Let's see what the Rattlers are able to run up, as it is a run up the middle, as that is Nix fighting for, and it is a Rattlers first down. And if you're Crismon here, you have to strike fast. There is 10 minutes to go, but you want to create this separation, because I do not think that you want to run the clock here when you are 10 yards away from your own red zone.
Nice handoff. It's going to be a huge run. Still going. Makes one miss, and he's going to go out of bounds at just around the 8-yard line.
And that will bring up first.
And it's not going to matter, because guess what?
Another penalty.
Holding on the Rattlers. The name of the game. Big play, bring it back. That's what it's been tonight for the Rattlers. And I honestly think that's about the 11th time I've seen that tonight.
I give you credit for keeping count, because there has been so many flags, penalties, and just miscommunications throughout this whole entire game. It's been very difficult to keep count. First and 15 for Robinson and the Rattlers.
Robinson's going to check, switch the play possibly here.
Will make the clap and get the snap as he drops back.
Takes
Sees
a
his
deep
open
shot.
receiver and connects for a Rattlers touchdown.
And just like that, the Rattlers have the lead.
Score now 13-7 in favor of the Crismon Rattlers.
Great route there just to get wide open in the play there. Gets one-on-one, hits him with the post. That's been the name of the game as well for them. That post route has been saving Crismon all night long. We talk about it a lot. The pressure gets there, and it's just that over-the-top post route every time. And then instead of underthrowing it this time, finally, Rodson gets it right in the money for a touchdown.
Things are heating up here in Santan Foothills as the kick is up and good. Score is now 14-7 in favor of the Rattlers. Back here at Santan Foothills, score 14-7. Rattlers on top of the SaberCats. And if you're the Rattlers, do you try to go for another onside kick here, or do you actually boot it?
I think you just boot it. Your defense has been playing great all game, which is why I was very confused as to why they took the onside earlier. They were in a situation where they didn't need to do that. But, I mean, now I think you just boot it. Yeah, and they're going to boot it. They're a great decision.
Looks like Fulton with the handle there, as he is taken down at the 35-yard line.
Got some updates for you around the league. Round Valley handles Ganado 42-6. Fourth quarter, Ben Frank 21, Florence 12. That game has about 2 minutes left. It looks like Ben Frank's going to handle Florence for the second year in a row. Fourth quarter, this is a very interesting game. Paradise Honors number 14 and Valley Christian. I said Paradise Honors was one of those teams that could sneak in the playoffs. That's out of it right now, and that's a big game for them. No score in Maricopa versus Tucson for us. Higley taking it to Notre Dame Prep. As far as the games we cover go, Apache Junction down 40-7 to Coconino. That's as good as over. Santan Charter officially beats Heritage Academy 42-19. And it's a fumble.
It's a fumble, and it is recovered by the Rattlers. And there is not a SaberCat in sight, as that is another Rattlers touchdown.
And it's just become a clean sweep switcheroo right there now. Unreal.
And when it rains,
It pours.
And it is not looking good for the SaberCats right now.
Gilbert Christian up 53-0 over Borgade Catholic. Marana, number 7 in the nation, Marana, 23-7 over Cienega. Take it down a little bit more to some of the closer games. ALA Ironwood 34, Tempe 14. St. John's and Chinle don't have a score in that yet. Fourth quarter, Combs 14, 8 Arizona College Prep 41. They're handling that one pretty well. Buena up over Desert View 62-0 in the fourth. That's a dominant performance there from them. Phoenix Christian up 14-6 over Cortez.
And if you're Buena, that's the second game in a row you put up 60 points, right? No, we didn't follow them last week. That's my bad.
Still, that's just very impressive. 2 of your last 3 games with 60-something points. Just an unstoppable team right now. Looks like Campo Verde up over Sunny Slope by 1, 14-13. Desert Edge down to Sunrise Mountain, 17-15. Number 15, Queen Creek, and number 19, Centennial, 24-21. Bulldogs up on that one.
And the penalty will cause the Rattlers to move back.
Just taking a look around the league, man, you know, after this week now, more than ever, a little bit shocking to say the least. You know, Florence is going to probably drop in the rankings now, and I know they've only lost 1 game, but when you take a look at their strength of schedule, they might drop a couple spots. So it's going to be interesting to see how the 3A shakes up.
And that extra point was up and good.
35 yards.
What a boot from the Rattlers, and this one is turned around quickly as the score is now 21-7 in favor of the team in baby blue.
And in unfortunate circumstances, Gophers got the ball back, but a turnover on downs in the fourth quarter is probably going to seal up that game.
Who happens to be the backup to Logan?
I think that is young quarterback, sophomore, freshman Brody Ramirez at quarterback. So they've had him working a little bit. That'll probably be his team to take over next year, so we'll have to see how that goes. It's a turnover on downs. Florence has the ball on their own 12-yard line. But there's only about 1:50 left to go in that game. They would have to go quick.
Rattlers put up the kick, and that is a boot.
They're going to take it out, the SaberCats, and never mind. I don't think anyone called for a fair catch, but the ref. I don't understand what's going on right now.
I do not know, but it looks like the SaberCats will resume play on the 20-yard line.
Final out in Push Ridge. Bears, nothing. Push Ridge Christian, 68.
Oof, God, that hurts, brother. Oh, I hope that Modelo is icy cold when I get home.
And I hope that Capri Sun fruit punch is icy cold when I get home.
We practice responsibility here on the Varsity Breakdown Network.
Please, don't worry. Father Pastorio knows the go-to drink for me. Cherry Coke, 0 sugar, a lot of ice in it. That's the go-to at Circle K.
I'm a guy that doesn't really like a lot of ice. I know that if you're at a drive-through and you take my order and you hear no ice, you know it's me.
Boy, at Cane's, I get the light ice. Root beer light ice, that's the go-to. But anywhere else, man, there's something about that Circle K ice that keeps that drink cold for days, man.
Mm-hmm.
I need it. And you know what? I'm going after this game now. That's one's going to be stuffed in there. And it's a fumble. And that's going to be a late penalty flag.
Oh, no,
and
no,
oh,
no,
my
no,
gosh.
no. Things are going to fall apart here quickly. They need to take control of this. Come on. Enough of the taunting.
And he's just walking out the field. He's going straight to the locker room.
This isn't good.
And this is I don't even know what I'm seeing right now. On both sides of the ball, too. They just be, at this point, it's a shame. It's a shame to see it. Seriously. I can only hold my tongue so long. And I saw that it was a suplex well after the whistle by Crismon there.
Yeah.
And the Santan SaberCat just retaliating.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of confusion on the SaberCats sideline trying to figure out who is the player walking off the field if it's a matter of him being kicked off or what is going on.
I don't even know. This is just, at this point, it's.
Now, I understand the intensity, but that attempt at a suplex was just unnecessary. It's not a football play.
And, I'm not spectacle of things, but, I don't know what's being said in the field there, but, there's certain boundaries and lines we don't cross on a football field with things we say, and I can only hope that those things aren't being said in a field. I'm surely not saying that's what it is. I can only speculate, but I sure as hope that we're, at the end of the day, we're all playing the same sport, and we're not taking it too far with what we say in the field. That's all I can say. I hope it's not an injury as well to the head or anything like that.
Of course not. We still have 9:55 to go in the fourth quarter, and things need to shape up fast.
Quick little update. Ben Franklin, 21. Florence, 12, a minute to go. Florence has the ball at the 44-yard line. Probably going to have to get in field goal range and take that field goal quick if they're Florence and try it onside. Otherwise, it looks like Florence's undefeated season will not be a thing. And I just know Daniel just gained a game on me with that.
Yeah, we've been pretty silent on the predictions, but I think it's pretty safe to say that I am the current reigning weekly predictions champion, and we'll see what happens after tonight to see who takes
Well, I don't know about you, sir. I still got the belt. The way I see it, a tie In wrestling, I don't know if you know, time limit draw, champion keeps his belt. I'm sitting on 2 weeks as champ. And you know what? If I win it this week, next week, we'll just call it a pay-per-view, Lupe, and I'll defend it in a 4-way.
It's just a technicality. But
It's just
as we go back and forth over who has the weekly pick dominance, there is still some conversating going on the field between the officials and, unfortunately, between the two teams facing each other.
And you know, if I'm a ref, I'm saying it right here, right now. If it and next person that does it, and so on and so forth, it's not even a warning now. It's you're gone, you're out the game, because we're gonna have to restore some order here.
And that short screen pass is going to get the Rattlers a gain of maybe 5 yards here, as that will bring up 2nd and 5.
Just 9:41 to go.
Big gain, as that is now 2nd and 2.
And it's
now.
going to be an injury on the field now for the SaberCats. It's just one thing after another in this game. You know what I keep thinking about every time we get these stoppages and the things? The man above is freezing his tail off.
Yeah, I feel so bad for Augie up there. I know that he came to this game with shorts. I mean, he did have a hoodie on, but I know that that is not doing much for his legs. And he's a track athlete. He needs to take care of those legs.
Hey, think about it, though. A little bit of a cold plunge for him without the water.
We will get a short break in the action here at Santan Foothills. Thank you all for joining us. And we are back. Score of 21-7 with the Rattlers leading the SaberCats with 9:27 to go here in the fourth quarter.
Running back's going to line up to the left of Robinson. I think we're just going to see the easy run plays here. Try to pound this one in for a touchdown.
And the ball is handed off to Nix. Nix is met by a gang of SaberCats, and he will be brought down after a short gain.
And now that these games are coming down to the final, let me ask you, as we go into next week, who are the top 3 teams to beat in the 3A, and who are your top 4 teams to beat in the 4A? Because got a little scuffles this week, man. You know, a little shuffling in the deck probably now as we go into the next week rankings.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you who's the team to beat in the 3A right now, because I would still say the crown still belongs on the head of Florence right now. They're still in control of the 3A Central when you look at Pinal County, at least, as we get Diesel moving for his life, trying to find his receiver, and does. And the ball is
Incomplete on the play.
incomplete. But you got to give Diesel some credit there, as he is able to use those feet and get away from the defender.
You know, as I'm starting to lean back in this chair, I can feel the cold breeze from out there. Hey, it's cold out there. I'm glad we're in here and not out there.
I'm sorry, Augie.
I'm sorry. I think it's got to be Ben Franklin, though. You know, we said we can't say, oh, maybe they'll beat Ben Frank, and then, you know, maybe they'll beat Florence, and then they go and dominate both of them. I thought, oh.
Come on. That was a big hit.
Big hit there. Almost looked like landed on his neck there. We call that a Tiger Driver 95. Man, that could have been bad there. But, yeah, I mean, I think it's got to be Ben Franklin's the team to beat in the 3A right now. If not them, it's either Thatcher or ALA West Foothills. But Ben Franklin just, even in these top 10 matchups, they're dominating the top 10 matchups.
Yeah, outside of Pinal County, it's Ben
Yeah,
Franklin.
it's
not even close.
It's insane what they've been doing, man. And I think, I don't know, man. I think if Florence gets that matchup in the playoffs with them, they got to get past the first round first. They got it. That's what they need to worry about because that's their big kryptonite right now. As Robinson's going to step up in the pocket here.
Scramble. Avoids a couple of defenders and will get out of bounds. No. Out into the end zone as that is a touchdown, Rattlers.
Nice running touchdown there by Robinson. You know what? I think I'm going to go ahead right now. 8 minutes to go. I know the game's not over, but I got to get my MVP of the game. Take a little bit from Tom Brady, my LFG player of the game. I'm going to go with Tato, man, on that defensive line. That guy just does it all. He set the tone the entire night for the defense. When their backs were against the wall in the red zone, he made plays. He had that just miraculous one-on-one bat down. He did it all in the pass game, rushing the quarterback. The amount of QB hurries that he had, I don't know how many sacks he had, but I know he got some hurries in this game, at least 5 or 6. That's my MVP right now as far as Crismon goes. What about you? Who's been your player of the game so far from what you've seen here? It could be either team, too, you know.
Player of the game, if I have to give some credit, I'm going to give some credit to the team in Royal Blue. The Santan Foothills Sabercats, I got to show some love to Dalton Norman. I did not forget all the effort that he put in the beginning of the game to make sure that his team would come away as winners. I know that things have shifted dramatically in favor of the Rattlers, but right now my focus is on number 11. I want to see what he is able to do as he goes back under center.
And yeah, especially with all the injuries, they've played great up till now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's good. But I got to talk to Coach Carlin before the game, and he just told me it was a next man up kind of mentality thing for them. They had been beaten down with injuries all year, but they were not going to let that be an excuse for their ball club. And I was able to talk to Coach and tell him, you got to look at this in a positive way, though. You know, you're building these guys up to get the reps for next year, and that's what helps build a winning culture program. The reps matter, man. Whether people like to hear that or not, reps matter.
Yeah, getting the reps in practice is one thing. Getting game reps is another.
Where are we going to be at next week, Lupe? Got some last couple games coming up. If we decide, might have a flex out here. We don't know yet.
Yeah, it's a toss-up. I'm kind of glad that you brought this up because I kind of want to put this up to our fans, actually. Next week, we're supposed to be in Casa Grande as there is a failed attempt at a onside kick, and the Sabercats are able to recover. But we are originally scheduled to be out in Casa Grande as they face the Desert View Jaguars. But we have been in Casa Grande quite often in the past month. So I want to give the viewers a fresh option to choose whether they would like to see us back in Casa Grande or somewhere else.
I think we can get a little bit of a poll going maybe.
I'm
do one on the Instagram and everything like that.
I'm thinking that's exactly the route we should go, and then maybe get our results get the poll out on a Monday or Tuesday and get the results in by Wednesday so that way we know exactly where we need to lock in.
I've got 2 games off the top of my head I'm looking at right now. As of right now, Gilbert Christian had a dominant win tonight. Ben Franklin beat Florence. That game next week is at Gilbert Christian. Gilbert Christian. And how about another game? Florence versus the Rattlers, because we've talked about it. That's actually a bigger game than people think. Florence now coming off a loss. How will they respond? And I think the Rattlers are going to pull away with this win here. They're in that race for that region. That could be one of the games where the Rattlers win. Then my prediction might come true. I said there was a possible chance we get that 3-way tie.
You did.
So those are 2 games I'm thinking of right there. I don't know if you've got any off the top of your head that you can think of, but as of right now, those are just 2 of the ones I could think of that we could possibly change and go to next week is Florence versus Crismon and Gilbert Christian versus Ben Franklin.
Yeah, that Florence and Crismon game is definitely looking enticing. And I know that I was speaking to Mr. Hillerman a couple of days ago because he was asking, with both of these teams looking very similar with their records the same and in the same region, was there a possibility for both teams to possibly make it into the playoffs? And Crismon was the team that had the slight advantage over the 2 to actually make it. They get a win tonight. They go into Florence next week to look for revenge. They have a big chance to blow things wide open here at the end of the season, and it's getting very exciting.
And they're going to be going up against the Florence team where we're not sure how they're going to respond. It could be a trap game, and it's one of those things where you see a team lose a game and you think the bounce-back game's coming next week, but if they can fix some things here, the Crismon Rattlers, if they can fix some of the problems they've been having, It's going to be a good game against Florence there. And that, that's why I bring that one up. It has nothing to do with me going there. We try to pick the best matchups. If Coolidge was in the same situation, I would have said, hey, let's go to Coolidge and watch that game, man, because the beauty of it is when we get down to these final weeks and stretches, it's no disrespect to other teams, but we try to give the best matchups every week that we can. And when you get down to it, you get to kind of choose and see what the best matchups are going into the last week. And, as I look right now at the upcoming games, the only other games I can really think of that we could possibly go to is Buena versus number 7 Marana. But, Marana's been a powerhouse. Buena, they do put up a lot of points. Not sure how that would fare out, but, as Dalton Norman and the SaberCats look to take the snap here, those are some of the games I can think of right now off the top of our head that we could possibly switch to.
Yeah, and it would be a great thing to do. And I know that Daniel would be extra happy to see us get into Southern Arizona and do a Marana game, as that is a huge run for the SaberCats, but it might be too little too late, as it is going to be 4th and 5 for the SaberCats.
And yeah, just looking down the schedule for games coming up next week. Unless you want to take a nice trip up to River Valley to watch Mojave play River Valley 5 hours away, hey, be my guest. Another great game next week, Push Ridge versus Thatcher. 2 6-1 teams. That's going to be a great game next week as well. Combs versus Arcadia. That's going to be a great game. Desert View, Casa Grande. Man, Casa Grande. Losers of their last 3.
Very unlike the Cougars.
You ain't got nothing to lose at this point.
But we'll leave it up to the people. We'll discuss it over. Just a little bit of brainstorming of teams we thought we could possibly go switch to next week. We'll have to see what happens.
And that kick is up and in the hands of the Rattlers, and the receiver is taken down. Oh, no. And we look like we might have, I don't know. And I hate to say this right now because I feel like I'm the dad in the car that says, hey, if you guys don't stop this, I'm going to turn around right now. But I hate to say, if we get another chippy play like that, I'd be willing to pack it up right here and put it away, because
it's just disrespectful to the game of football. And you're not wrong with what you say. I'm not afraid to say, and this is just me saying it. It has nothing to do with who I work for or anything. This is just simply ridiculous. I don't know why we think that this is allowable. Even in our game today, in the pros and everything, this is just, it's nonsense. This isn't pee-wee football. This isn't pick-up ball football. This is football. And yes, I know football's tough, but this is to the point of where, are we just trying to fight and hurt people, or are we trying to play a football game right now? You make up your mind. Because this is the thing where coaches look at from schools, and they look at kids and how they act like this, and that's what happens when they don't offer kids. They look at stuff like that, and they go, yeah, I'm not going to offer the kid because of that. Because your attitude matters so much to getting an offer as much as your playing ability does. And people don't talk about that. In the NFL draft, lots of late-round draft picks are character kind of picks for teams. They like to get character picks and culture picks for the locker room and help build something. So it's not always just talent. You could have all the talent in the world, but if you don't work hard and if you just have the attitude that you are the next big thing, people are going to tune away from you. So you're not wrong for, just biting your tongue on it. It's absolutely ridiculous that we've had to see it all night long.
Yeah, because I have very much a big affinity for both teams, and to see them act out like in this way, it's disgusting. You don't expect a game to get this far out of hand.
And look where they're backing them up. This is just. It leaves a sour taste in my mouth, because I'm not gonna go too into detail about it, but if we're allowing this to happen too, and we're accepting this and we're preaching it, it's just wrong.
Yeah, this isn't great team football. The play is over. Go back.
I know I love the physicalness, but there's to a point of where there's playing, and then there's roughing, and yeah, I think we've gone over that line.
Yeah, but with the physicality in this game and the amount of intensity from both sides, it's going to be rough when both teams line up. I wouldn't be surprised if both teams don't shake hands.
I 100% wouldn't want to be. And if they do line up, I honestly am going to hold my tongue on that too as they walk by each other because, I've seen my fair share of, in quotation, handshakes turn into fights on the field. I think actually not too long. I want to say that Pueblo Vista Grande game ended in a scuffle as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Our very first broadcast out in Pueblo, yeah, it ended pretty poorly. We had to wrap up the broadcast quickly, and we didn't get to award either team with a varsity breakdown player of the game, or excuse me, a get it in player of the game, because got to shout out Get It In Apparel for their contributions last season to recognizing our player of the games. But yeah, this one's tough. I can't not ignore the effort from both teams, but the way that this game has kind of like carried itself out, it's not been good.
And that's a holding call coming again on the Rattlers there. You can't throw your hands in the air. That's 100% a penalty. I'm going to be honest. Number 12 going to get called for that there. And a late hit there, almost as it seemed. It seems like every play we're just waiting to see the big breakout fight happen because it just seems like the animosity between both teams right now, it's there. And I'll say this, I like some talking in the field, it's part of the game, but there's confidence and then there's cockiness. And then there's just no place for that. And I'm not going to go into detail about it right now, but if it continues, we'll see.
Yeah, there's still 6 minutes to go, and
Yeah.
that's a lot of football.
It's not like either team here is 7-0, all right? You're both 3-4. You're fighting for a playoff spot. Lock in the game. As a coach, this is what I'd be preaching right now is, look, we got the game won. There's no reason for us to do anything to hurt us in the next coming weeks, whether it's get a guy injured trying to be too physical or a stupid penalty where we get a guy suspended for a game. Mm-hmm. I'm worrying about my playoff chances right now. I got this game locked up. After this drive, I'm pulling some of my starters right now. Seriously.
And I feel like Coach Sines has the right idea here running the ball out.
Yep.
And the SaberCats defense is wearing themselves thin, not looking like how they were in the first quarter.
But you know what? I'll give them credit. For 3.5 quarters, they stood tall and they played their tails off. And, they didn't give up 28 points. More so 21. We talked about the fumble, recovery returned, and then the turnover by Santan, which set up Crismon in the red zone. This defense has actually had a great game tonight. Despite the injuries they've had, they've been able to perform. And I love the next man up mentality. And Coach Carlin always goes with the mentality of coach him hard, hug him later. And I just love that as a coach. And I was thankful to be a part of his, be coached by him and his staff for a year when he was at Foreign still. Awesome guy.
And you got to respect the resilience of the Rattlers as well, because Diesel gave up 2 interceptions, and that's Texel putting one big one up in the air. And that is caught for a Rattlers first down as they are just adding on insult to injury here as they are in the red zone for the 5th time this game.
Had him with the double pass there. 5 minutes to go, 28-7, and they pulled out the double pass on them. They want more points. And see, I won't get mad at that, though, because I understand you're in a point now where you need to get as many points as you can with the way the rankings go. Mm-hmm. And as much as I talked earlier about, being confident and cocky and all that, Coach Belichick said it best. If I have a chance to score 60 points on a team, I'm scoring 60 points. So at the end of the day, you're still playing football, man. You got to play defense, and you're playing offense. So I like the call there.
Diesel will get the snap, hands it off, and that's Nix.
And it looks like he's going to break that out for a touchdown.
Nix is in the end zone.
And it's coming back on a holding call. Technical difficulties, please stand by. And currently having camera problems with our camera due to the cold weather up top. Trying to fix that right now, but I will update everybody as quarterback Diesel Remington got drilled on the play, and it was a huge fumble recovered by the SaberCats, going all the way to the 45-yard line with 4:12 to go. It's about as good as over, but the SaberCats still playing with some life. You got to respect and love to see it. And it's just me in the booth right now, so you guys get to sit back and enjoy and kick back with me for the final 4 minutes. How's it going, everybody? Big games coming up. Be sure to go vote online at Varsity Breakdown on our Instagram, Varsity Breakdown. Within the next couple days, we will pick the 3 to 4 games that you can pick to have us come to your school for the big game of the week. We will pick some of the biggest schools or biggest matchups of the week. We've already talked about it. Florence versus Crismon will be on there, along with Ben Franklin and Gilbert Christian as 2 of the bigger matchups that week. Be sure to vote. We will be mobile and going to wherever. Santan has the ball, almost an interception thrown. I know you people can't see it, but I guess we'll just have to do this radio style right now. Santan in the huddle right now. Crismon out there in the 4-3 defense. 4:04 left to go in the fourth quarter. 2nd and 10. SaberCats breaking the huddle. Norman will be at the quarterback position. He gets in the shotgun. 2 tight ends set to the side, running back behind him. And a timeout was going to be called before the play by the SaberCats with 4:04 to go. We'll be right back. Back in the call right now quickly. SaberCats still in their timeout for the last 30 seconds duration of it. Just wanted to talk quickly. Big games going down tonight. Gilbert Christian gets right back on track. They're 5-3 just in the playoffs. That'll be a big game to help them. They'll be going to 5-3 after a dominant 59-0 win for them tonight on the road. Ben Franklin once again taking down another top 10 team in the Florence Gophers. They win 21-12. Florence quarterback Logan Stenson seemed to go down at the end of the game, but went back in the game. Have to monitor that through practice the next week as the Gophers prepare for these Crismon Rattlers, who are hungry for a playoff spot, as Norman is to give to the running back, and he's going to get about 7 to 8 yards on the play. Blows it dead at just around over midfield to about the 52, call it the 53. 3 minutes and 51 seconds left to go in the game here. 28-7. Rattlers over the SaberCats. And an injury on the play.
Oh, no. Okay, Jackson's over there. Okay.
And he is down in pain. They'll be tending to him right now. 3:44 left to go in the game. We'll take a quick break for a timeout break. 3:44 left to go in the fourth quarter. Augie Chang joining me on the broadcast right now. We've said it again. It's radio for the rest of this game, the duration of it. Limping off the field, number 58, in a lot of pain, able to get him off. 3:44 left to go. SaberCats on the ball. Norman in the shotgun, motion's over. He's going to roll out, and he's going to take it down in the backfield. Another sack for the Crismon Rattlers defense in this game. That's their 5th one tonight. Just firing on all cylinders. And Augie, before you came down here, it was just me talking, just going over. We are going to probably flex out our game next week, possibly. People have a chance to vote it in to still go to it, but we might be going to a different game, to the likings of possibly Crismon versus Florence. Florence having to bounce back after a loss. We'll see what happens there. Crismon going to get a win here. That'll be a big region matchup, as Crismon will be 4-1 in their last 5. And then the other game we're looking at is Ben Franklin versus the Gilbert Christian Knights, who just won 59-0 to keep their playoff hopes intact, as they're 5-3 now. And then, of course, we know Ben Franklin, A. Leonardwood, and Florence, 2 top 10 matchups that they just blew out the gate and dominated. Tell me, which game are you looking at next week as possibly a more exciting game, and what did you see this week from all 4 of those teams?
Yeah, I mean, all 4 of those teams are playoff caliber teams. You know, they're all some of the greatest teams in this region, and it's definitely going to be very exciting. I think one of the biggest games, I'm going to say, is the Florence game. You know, I think that game is going to really determine, you know, again, just how they're going to finish.
And this is, I don't mean to cut you off, this is unreal. At some point, something's got to be done here. This is the 10th time that this has happened on the sidelines, and a flag has been thrown. This is just absolutely sickening, and this has happened throughout the game. You know, at what point do we put our foot down? Unreal. Just call the game at this point because of that. Continue, though, Augie. What were you saying?
Right. So, again, I think the Florence game is going to be very important because, again, they had a heartbreaking loss against Ben Franklin, but I saw it coming because, again, Ben Franklin was a tough team to beat, and Florence, that was one of the toughest teams they're going to have to face all year, and it kind of shows them that, hey, if we're going to have to, if we're really going to want to, stay in the playoffs and try to win a championship, we have to beat these teams like Ben Franklin. And so coming next week against Crimson, and we're watching Crimson right now, that defense really figured out this Santan Foothills offense. So if Florence could bounce back, get a win with Crimson, that's going to keep a good momentum up for them later down in the year.
Agree 100%. And now I got to ask you after hearing that, how cold are you, man? Because, oh, my God, I can hear the chills in your voice when you're talking. I could hear the icicles in it.
Oh, yeah, I'm trying my best to stay warm right now.
Oh, my God. It's got to be freezing up there. And, we haven't seen that all year in Arizona.
It's unfortunate the camera stopped working, but it's a blessing in disguise for me.
It's going to be a quarterback change for the Crismon Rattlers in the final duration of the game. It's going to be a nice, huge run by the quarterback here. And it just, again, and then after the play, just antics by the Crismon Rattlers. Just unreal. It's sickening right now. Penalty on the play here. Going to bring it back, though, possibly against the Crismon Rattlers, so it will negate it. And, yeah, I know, I agree with you 100%, Augie. It's going to be interesting to see, can Florence bounce back? That's been the big question mark after all their losses in the last 3 seasons, and especially against a team that's rolling like the Crismon Rattlers. They're 4-1 in their last 5. They're in the region play still, and they're most certainly in the playoff race. And at the end of this week, they possibly could be in the top 16, which would be a playoff spot. It's going to be interesting to see next week where those teams line up in the rankings. A lot could be at stake. More so for Florence than the Rattlers in some ways more than others. So that game could be where we're at next week. Or there's the dominant Ben Franklin Chargers versus the Gilbert Christian Knights, who we've talked about. Gilbert Christian, a bit of a win-loss start to the season, are now sitting at 5-3. It's going to be interesting to see how they can handle what is arguably considered one of the best teams in the 3A. If not, possibly after this week, the best team in the 3A. Along with teams such as ALA West, Foothills, River Valley, and Thatcher. So those 2 games will be exciting, or who knows, we might be back at Casa Grande, but in Casa Grande, we thought would be 7-0 at this point. They're sitting at just above 500 at 4-3. It's going to be a false start on the Rattlers, it seems here, or possibly encroachment on the SaberCats, as I think the defensive end did jump. And I asked Lupe this question earlier, and I'll ask you, who is your team to beat in the 3A right now, Augie? Of all the teams that you've seen so far and where the rankings stand, who's got that it factor, and who's sitting on the doorstep of, hey, come and beat us if you can?
Like I said before, it's Ben Franklin. They've been out there beating the top teams in 3A and teams in 4A as well. So you look at Ben Franklin, they defeated Florence, who was undefeated, who was supposedly ranked #1 in 3A. They came up and upset it. It's not really an upset to me, but they took them down. So it shows that Ben Franklin is really a powerhouse in this division.
100%, couldn't agree more. Florence did take their first loss tonight. If you're just joining us at the end of this broadcast, 21-12 to the Ben Franklin Chargers. Going to be interesting to see how the coaches respond and the staff and the players, most importantly. And the big question mark is going to be, how is quarterback Logan Stinson going to be after taking that late hit, being checked for a head injury, went back in the game. We'll have to get his status for next week when we can. Just under 2 minutes to go left in this game, 28-7. Rattlers over the SaberCats. It's about as good as over. SaberCats are going to fall to 3-5. The Rattlers are going to go up to 4-4, and they'll be 4-1 in their last 5. They are just on a roll. The line in the sand for them, to say the very least. The snakes are slithering.
Guard, I was like, okay.
Quarterback gives to the running back. He's going to keep it on the pole. It's a quarterback option, and he takes it to the outside, and he's going to be just dropped down at the 30-yard line here. Down at the 31, a minute to go. So the SaberCats season possibly more than likely over, unless they have some sort of answer and go on an insane run and end 5-5. See where they would end up in the playoff picture there. It would have to be a low seed, if anything. Crismon helps their playoff odds tremendously with this win here tonight. Things are getting shaky. And, you know, the one negating factor no one's talking about, A.L.A. Ironwood won against Tempe, and what we saw from Florence tonight, it could come down to that last game between the Ben Franklin, or between the A.L.A. Ironwood Warriors and the Florence Gophers for the region, or who knows? It might be the three-way tie I think could have happened with the Crismon Rattlers. We'll all have to see it unravel. 26 seconds to go here in the game. If there's going to be another penalty, I think we had a record-breaking in penalties tonight.
Yeah, this record-breaking penalty, it definitely competes against the Union versus Buena game.
That's what we were saying the other day, me and Lupe. We were saying that it's almost like last game.
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with the weather, and then also with, just backers are getting in now, really excited to play, and with Santan Foothills, it feels like it's kind of heartbreaking for them, because this might be, the game that ends their kind of their season. This might not help them make the playoffs anymore. So there's a lot of emotions going on.
And yeah, 20 seconds left. The crowd's already starting to pack their things up and leave the field early. Trying to beat that traffic with the extra 20 seconds. You can't blame them, but Crismon still running plays. I think at this point you need to knee the ball out now. You're going to risk an injury. And that's going to be the last play of the game. The Crismon Rattlers are going to take this one and move on to 4-4, 28-7. SaberCats fall to 3-5. This one's going to be over. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. We are sorry that we had to go radio version for the last 5 minutes. Next week, who knows where we'll be at? It's your choice to decide. Thank you. Goodbye.